Howdy, guys, gals, and gamers. Welcome to the Super Metroid 100% Tournament Qualifier 4A. Or if you're a normal person who only uses numbers instead of numbers and letters, that's Qualifier 7, I think.
Yeah, it will be Qualifier 7.
Unfortunately, we are not normal people here in the Super Metroid community. But luckily, at least one person in here is normal. That is my co-host, the 100% expert himself, French Lightning John, and I, of course, am the professional Quebecois to English translator, Derp. John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, and you, Darp?
I'm doing fantastic.
Nice. So this race, we did select 4 person that I think only 3 of them at least that were close to each other in terms of PB to make it as exciting as we can. So I'm pretty sure we will see a lot of lead taken during that race between Toasty, Rusu, and Canadian Howl.
Yeah, so there's actually 2 reasons why we picked the runners that we did. It was mostly me, but I'll give John credit too. But so actually, all of these runners have ran a 125 in their qualifying time for the tournament. So Canadian Owl is in the lead with a 125.12, and Zeb is in the back with a 125.45. So all the runners are within about 30 seconds of each other. So this is going to be a pretty good race. And the other reason is just because they're all my friends, and I'm really biased. You know how it is.
Yeah. Always choose your friends to be under restraint.
I believe that's called nepotism, but luckily I can't read, so I don't know what that means.
I'm an expert on English words, so I will go with you then.
So anyways, sorry for starting a little bit late. We were just having some issues with the restream. We have a lot of people to restream, actually. I believe this race has 33 people. I don't know if that's the biggest qualifier, but it's a lot of people for one race. But we should be starting in just a couple minutes. And it looks like we are starting in SRL now. So the race should be starting in just about 40 seconds. So, John, what do you think we're going to see out of this race?
What do we think? I think we will see a lot of cool things, especially from Toasty. He do like to put out some swag strat when he can. But I think we will mostly see some good old early crack undo from all of our runners we have chosen.
Yeah, of course, early croc hundo, a little bit slower route, but is also a little bit easier. So I imagine we'll see a 4 runners probably go for early croc.
Yeah, I do know Russ is doing early croc though.
Yeah, I believe Toasty and Owl both do early croc. I don't know about Zeb, but I assume he does as well. I wonder if we're going to see any other route divergence, though, like potentially one of the runners grabbing an early power bomb. Excuse me.
And the race has begun now. I don't think anybody will take early power bombs. It's only useful in when you're doing leg croc.
Really? Why is that?
I'm pretty sure it's only uses with leg croc because of ice beam and all of those things.
Well, maybe.
Probably can be useful also for early croc, but normally those who do early croc are not thinking of doing the fastest thing absolutely, so that's my other reasoning also.
Well, generally, the point of early power bombs is so you only need to do 1 visit to Kraid's lair instead of 2, but it does save a little bit of time in other areas like Norfair. It just takes a lot of time to get it in the first place. Don't mind the pauses if you've never watched a race on SpeedGaming. We are just getting all the timers synced up so you can have the optimal race experience with all the runners being at about an equal point to each other. So we'll get that in just a second. Just need to sync. Oh, looks like we got Owl too. So
yeah.
All of our runners are synced up.
I expect to see a 45 at least on one of those.
Yeah, 45.94 it looks like from Rasu. Pretty good. Unfortunately, Owl got a little bit trolled, ended with the lowest in the restreamed race with a 42.03.
Yeah, I did see him struggle with the stair room.
Yeah, one of the rough parts of doing a race, normally if you get a bad series, you'll see most runners just reset, but you don't want to do that in a race because that just puts you at a 2-minute handicap. And so you'll just have to accept a bad series every once in a while, and Owl shouldn't be too upset about it, all things considered. But yeah, Rasu getting about a 1.5 second lead over the next closest. Of course, we won't be talking about what happens off restream because we do want to keep the focus of the commentary on the restreamed runners. So we'll provide you occasional updates, but don't expect anything too in-depth.
So, and Zeb doing the Parlor Moonfall.
Yeah, so, Parlor Moonfall saving an amount of frames that is greater than 0, I believe.
Yeah, it do save a full of frames. And then we see the best Moonfall in Climb. The Moonfall that saved the most time. I think it saved, what, 4 seconds?
It's 3.5 seconds, I believe. It's not technically the Moonfall that saves the most time. That would be the Moonfall to get Spore Spawn super missiles the intended way. But you will see that in 2 categories, and neither of them are full runs.
Yeah. Sadly.
It is a tragedy, but it is what it is.
So we do know that Zeb is using Moonfall. I think I see Toasty also using Moonfall in the Climb.
Oh. Alright, we're not going to use Zeb's audio because I believe he has his mic on, so
you might have forgotten
switch back. In just a second. We get to hear some nice controller inputs in the meantime. I love hearing just controller inputs. It's like ASMR, but better.
I don't know me, I'm not into that. I don't like hearing either keyboard or controller's audio. Never liked that.
I remember I used to stream in a dorm room, and my roommate had a mechanical keyboard, so you'd hear that in the background of my streams a bunch. That was kind of fun. I still know. He's a cool guy.
And now they return to the Climb. We have Zeb using the traditional wall jump climb. And Toasty doing the ledge grab climb. Both are a good method to go across the climb. Wall jump being faster by a few frames though.
Yeah, wall jumping up the climb is faster by a few frames, but it's not enough to really make it worth over the ledge grab climb if that's what you're more comfortable with.
Yeah.
It's not going to make a difference even at the highest level. We'll see Behemoth, who had the world record in a lot of categories for a while, use the ledge grab climb in his world records.
He even added he still have the under wall record, and he had the 80% wall record with that technique. So.
Yep, up until very recently, Behemoth was the any percent world record holder, but this isn't about Behemoth. He's not even in this race. This is about our 4 lovely runners here, which Zeb is currently in the lead. I think he is the strongest runner in terms of his any percent time, having about a 46, while the others are in around the 48 range. So you're going to expect Zeb's early game to be a little bit better than the others before the others catch up due to more experience with Hundo. I believe out of the 4, Owl actually has the best Hundo PB with like a 122, but don't quote me on that. I'm not looking at the
thing with Hundo is that I think it's Kip that described it, which is perfect. The perfect description is that Hundo is the equivalent of death by 1,000 cuts, because you can easily bleed times everywhere, and there's so much places where you can do mistake. So a person like Zeb being very good at 80% don't mean a lot when with Undos often, because Undo is very technical and very hard to optimize compared to 80%.
Yeah, Hundo is a longer category, so it's naturally going to be a little bit less optimized than the shorter categories like any percent, but that also means if you're just trying to lower your own time, you are going to lose a lot of time just overall over the course of an hour and a half to an hour and 15 minutes, depending on your skill level.
And now the first sequence break, the mug ball to the early super, so we calls. Normally you need speed booster to exit, but with a little technique now as mug ball, we can just go through below the gates and access this super missiles, making us so we don't have to fight a spore spawn.
Yeah, Spore Spawn, not an often fought mini boss, since the trick to skip it is very easy. Most people at any skill level can get it without too much of a hassle. We'll see how many runners get the reverse mock ball, though. It's not technically a sequence break, but it does save around 5 or 6 seconds, I believe.
Mm-hmm. And it's not something that's pretty easy because you need the right amount of speed and the right jump height to get it. So it's far from easy.
We're going to see Zeb go for it. Doesn't quite get it, so if one of the other runners does, they'll catch up a little bit. Rasu, unfortunately, doesn't get it either. Now it's Toasty's turn.
Oh, and Toasty did get it.
Yeah, Toasty gets it. Rockets himself up to currently second place, and Owl gets it as well. So that evens up with the back two runners got it, so the race just got a lot closer. Of course, there's still a lot of time left, so a lead at this point doesn't mean a lot, but it is something to note.
And now in Big Pink, there's something a little different from any percent. I don't know if Zeb is used enough for Undo, or he might do the... No, okay, he did skip it. In Undo, you go get Charge Me, and then you leave. You don't take anything else. Because that missiles, and seem to make that mistake, that missile is slower to take in 100%. Because since you need to return, you will have power bombs to open the blocks faster, and while you need to wait, you take that missile pack right there.
Yeah, I believe it actually saves a full second to not pick up that missile here and pick it up on your way around, because you do, of course, have to revisit this area to pick up all the items. It is not possible to pick them up in one go, regardless of what route you run. So you'll have to go back there eventually at some point. So we just decided to save that missile for later.
And now, as we see Zeb's going down instead of going up, there's not a lot of runners that are going up. I think only Zeus for the moment. Maybe Zenny also. I don't remember well for Zenny. They're going up to get the power bombs early.
Zenny did in a race against Zeus, but I don't think he does normally.
Yeah, I don't think he do.
And we are going to see the Spazer beam. What are your opinions on Spazer, John?
My opinion on Spazer is that it's the best beam in the game. There's a reason why World Record take it.
It's true. The world record picks up Spazer.
To be honest, I do like Spazer because it makes your beam wider, so makes your timing to hit things a lot easier in a lot of plays. But for some plays, like with Speed Booster, always when you return, it's way more difficult though. You have to time it now well to be able to hit the door without hitting the enemies. But apart from that, I think Spazer is a really good beams.
Yeah, Spazer in Kraid's Lair is actually a really nice luxury item to have.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of different things that it can be used for. Like if you'll see right here on Zeb's screen, he's actually going to do a diagonal shot. So what I was about to say doesn't matter. But you can actually, if you're just starting out, you can crouch and shoot horizontally, and it'll actually break that little block that you need to go down. So.
Also, Spazer is also a good luxury item for Norfair because a lot of enemies will either die in one hit or 2 or 3 hits from Spazer. So a short shot can do the job for killing some enemies there. It's really a nice convenient items in 100%.
So Zeb is going to be the first one to Kraid. That high level any percent running coming into play here, just having the best overall early game movement. And he's going to get a nice quick kill.
Now it's time for Russ and Toasty to try to get a quick kill.
Owl not too far behind. We'll see if he can get it as well.
Oh, Russ getting the 2 missile, 3 super quick kills. And now Toasty also getting nice job, guys.
Alright, well, Owl, don't let us down. And he gets the
Nice.
2 missile, 3 super quick kill as well. So 4 for 4 on the restream.
Now, Varia suit. That suit is very important in a 100% to get early because you could technically get it later, but it's way slower because of the heated rooms you have all around. So you could, since under you can get a lot of items, you could technically do like RBO, but it's slower. So you get Varia suit to be immune to E damage, and at the same time it reduces damage by 50%, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, Hundo in general is a very beginner-friendly category because you pick up so many items. There is technically a point of danger early on when you start running in Wreck Ship because you do have a fairly low health pool, but after that, you never really need to worry about your health or your ammo when you're just starting to run the category. And so another really nice luxury is the Kraid tank, which of course you have to pick up, but having that extra E-tank for Wreck Ship and even just early Upper Norfair movement is really nice to have.
Oh yeah, that E-tanks, it's one of the E-tanks you will last removing any percent. Also, a lot of newer runners thinking they want to go fast do remove that E-tanks way too early, and they get penalized in Wreck Ship and especially Meridian because that E-tanks, like Derb said, it's very nice luxury items in the early game.
Yeah, having a little bit of extra energy is a very nice safety to have, and generally if you're just starting out in any percent to, even if you're trying to get pretty good times in any percent, you should be picking up the E-tank just because it's so nice to have.
Now runners are getting high jump boots, making them jumping higher, and then get that missile here.
All right, so we are coming up to one of the first items that some people will forget, the Cathedral Missile. We'll see if Zeb remembers it.
Oh yeah, it's one infamous items that are often forgotten.
Looks like he's going down for it. So one thing you always need to worry about when you're running Hundo while you have muscle memory for other categories, because in most other categories you just jump over this missile, but in Hundo you need to go down and get it. So Zeb luckily doesn't forget, and so he'll be on his way.
And Toasty also is not forgetting that items. Russ also got it. Now just need to see if Kennings and Al will not forget about the item.
Yep, looks like all of our runners remembering that.
That's a good thing.
You know, Toasty and Rossi were very close entering Kraid, but Rossi was actually pulled ahead a little bit so far with about a 5-6 second lead over Toasty. Zeb is still doing really well for himself. You know, that early game movement that I keep talking about is a real thing.
Oh yeah, but that's not really what will make you win the early game movements. It's more in mid and late game we will see who is really ahead of who.
Yeah, once we finish up Wreck Ship and start doing the full clearing Meridia and getting all the items in Brinstar, that's when you'll see the other runners start to catch up on Zeb as they are more experienced with the Hundo category in particular. But for now, Zeb holding a lead.
And now, one of the most broken item I will say and most useful item, Speed Booster.
Yeah, Speed Booster turns out pretty good for a speed run, as it does make you run with speed. Yeah. Also, you have to pick it up anyways, so
yeah,
why would you pick it up early? True. So there is one other item they need to pick up in this Upper Norfair area, and that's the Wave Beam, which you're seeing Zeb about to pick up here.
Yep, and taking that missile because it's in the way, and after taking that wave beams, they will either go get ice beam or grapple beam, and after that they will just leave. If
The
they go
runners
get
do need either ice beam or grapple beam in order to get spring ball, one of the items later on. So the runners need to pick up at least one of those, and I assume most of the runners will be picking up grapple beam.
Yeah, me too. I think most of them will pick up a grapple beam.
In general, there aren't a lot of runners that go early ice instead of early grapple because it is a good amount harder and a good amount riskier. Not just because it's easier to get spring ball with grapple than with ice, but not having the extra E-tank from Crocomire is actually a pretty significant thing. So it's just, when you're starting out, it's a better idea to pick it up all around. And once you start running Hundo more seriously, it's still generally better until you're competing for top times.
Yeah. So far, 3 out of 4 are going to Crocomire, so we will get at least 3 confirmed early grapples run.
Yeah, like I said, Owl lagging behind a little bit at the moment, but he is the most experienced Hundo runner in particular, so he will make up a lot of time later on into the run for sure.
So we have confirmed 4 out of 4 on the racing going for Crocomire early.
Yeah, not really a surprise here.
Yeah, it's a
who gets
Crocomire early is really comfy runs because it's way more easier. You don't have to worry about the ice clip for spring ball, which is very precise to do.
Looks like Toasty's the biggest loser when it comes to Crocomire patterns. He's losing a bunch of time to Crocomire doing the swipes, which it delays how long you have before you can hit him. When he does the swipe, he won't open his mouth immediately, so you have to wait. It looks like all the runners actually got pretty bad Crocomire patterns, but actually Owl got pretty good ones. Only got that one swipe at the end, it looks like, so he's going to catch up a little bit from that.
Yeah, and at the beginning you have an extra 2 swipe also.
That is one more nice thing about the late Crocomire route. You will actually kill Crocomire in one shot, so it does eliminate any kind of Crocomire RNG that can occur here.
That's one of the main time save of early ice compared to early grapple.
Just being able to kill Crocomire really early. Oof, Rasu not quite getting the spark out of Toasty, unfortunately, opened the door, but he does make it. I didn't see if Zeb did or not.
No, I didn't see either. But Toasty did get the spark though. And now Canadian are also doing it and got it.
Oh, I ended up behind you. Hold on, give me a second to refresh my stream.
Now, as you see, Zeb, there's a red door that Zeb didn't open yet, because he will get that missiles and grapple, and when going up, we'll open the red door, get the missiles, and then use the Kazine rooms to charge a spark and spark all the way up. And taking that missile early, that there in the, I think Pentry rooms is the name of the room. It's slower, but way more consistent to do it early like that, because the fastest strat, which is the intended strat, is to use grapple on those rippers. I also know as doing the Indiana Jones strat.
Looks like Rasu doesn't quite make it all the way up. You don't actually need to bomb jump up to this platform if you don't make it. You can actually run on the platform right below the ledge and make it all the way up.
Yeah.
With jump. Unfortunately, Rasu doesn't know that, so he's just going to run back. So he's going to lose a bit of time.
And Kenzie Al doing the Indiana Jones strat. Nice. And he did get it first try.
If the Indiana Jones strat, some people call it, because you are swinging above the pit of acid, and he is gonna at least overtake Rasu, who had a bit of an unfortunate moment, not quite making it up to grapple. So that's nice. And yeah, you see this room, we call it the cosine room because it is a cosine wave. It is a cosine wave, not a sine wave. I couldn't tell you why, though. Because I am not very smart. Anyways, you see that it's a very long room that you can build up a spark in. It looks like Owl and Toasty actually both didn't quite make it.
Toasty didn't even try to get the spark. He just jumped around.
Yeah,
I think
that's all right, though.
I think he forgot he could have done it.
Yeah, we're gonna see Rossi do it though, and you see why. That spark might be too far to the. Okay, he's good.
Yeah,
If
he
you
do save quite a bit of time.
if you spark a little bit too far to the right, you actually don't make it up the ledge, so you'll fall all the way down and then have to wall jump all the way back up, which isn't too hard, but it is very slow.
Now Zeb is the first one to get out of Norfair. So all the items in Norfair has been collected before the cleanup. So they will only take back the items once they will be cleaning up Norfair.
Yeah, they will of course have to go through Upper Norfair one more time. There are a couple more items that they didn't pick up that they will need to grab at the end. It's the route is pretty carefully planned out, so the runners probably won't be skipping anything on accident. I don't want to say they definitely won't. You see Owl actually supering the ice store. That's unique.
That's a good thing because you have a Cack Attack at below Spacer that will give him back his super, so he will return at full super. So basically, you just save a super for later.
Yeah, it is technically fine, although you don't really need to worry about your ammo late game. You do get the super right back, so it doesn't lose you a super to go for it. As we see all of our runners making it to Red Tower.
Getting Alpha Spark, all of them, I think.
Yeah, it looked like all of them got Alpha Spark. Toasty actually turned off Spazer already. He's going to be using that Charge Wave special beam attack with the power bombs to fight Fantoon, most likely. Also makes the hero shot a little bit easier from experience.
Oh, and Kenton All did get the hero shot with Spacer.
Ooh, real nice.
Yeah, it's really hard to get a hero shot with Spacer equipped because of how large it is.
Of course, and then immediately gets eaten by the Vile Plume, so a little bit rough, but still holding on to his position in the current race.
Zeb ulting for the safe strat here with the giant side uppers. The normal strat is just to short charge, at least doing a one tap, and then lay a power bombs and spark into the two remaining giant uppers. The fastest strat, it's pretty hard. You see, you do a temporary blue suit to kill all of them.
Yeah, you will see the top runners do that, but maybe not necessarily in this race. They say Owl is holding on to third, but I think Rossu's actually overtaken him a little bit.
Yeah.
Of course, Zeb is, pulling a bit further ahead. Now he's kind of back onto stuff you would do in any percent, and Zeb has been running a lot of any percent recently, so
he's back in his comfort the strat. Oh, sorry.
Oh, nice. I wasn't watching.
Yeah, Kenzie All did get the spark strat while Russ failed it, which was sad.
Unfortunate. So yeah, Zeb's going to be making his way over to the wrecked ship to fight Fantoon. Looks like he's going to be using Doppler strats since he still has Spazer equipped.
Doppler strat being technically faster because you don't have to pose at the wrong place, we can see, because it's faster to pose when you need to pose to refill reserve to be able to do the Gauntlet Spark, or at a downward elevator. A downward elevator will save you 40 frames when posing there since you need to pose.
Yeah, Toasty does lose a little bit of time with that extra pause. It looks like Owl actually paused in the middle of a spark, so we didn't lose any time there, but he is also going to technically lose a little bit of time from pausing in general.
Yeah.
He's going for the X Factor kill on Fantoon as well. Meanwhile, Zeb and I believe Rossu are going to be going for Doppler strats. And we're going to see Zeb's fight here. Fantoon not opening up with a fast, of course.
Fantoon never opened with a fast.
It's true. Literally never.
You got a slow patterns.
Yeah, not a fantastic round 1 from Zeb, but he can still go for a pretty comfortable 3 round, which is usually what you want to do in a race with Doppler strats. As long as you get a 3 round, it's fine.
Yeah. Since
Low,
Toasty also
mid,
will be
mid.
getting a slow. Oh, Zeb missing super shot. So will
All
he have,
4 runners are
oh,
actually in Fantoon right now, which is pretty cool. Oh, Zeb doesn't know. He forgot he didn't have a super.
at least Fantoon gave him a fast. So he was not that punished from his mistake.
Yeah, not too bad. It's going to be hard to keep up with all the other runners because they're all doing Fantoon. But Toasty actually caught up a little bit on Zeb there. Had a much cleaner fight, it looks like.
Yeah,
Using the X Factor stats is generally a little bit easier, so Toasty going to save a little bit of time on that, executing a little bit better.
Al getting trolled there. Fantoon giving a fast eye close because yes, even the eyes of Fantoon have 3 patterns: fast, slow, and mid.
Yeah, you actually, optimally, you want to shoot Fantoon right when his eye opens because he can give you a fast eye close and you get pretty trolled by it. Rasu, unfortunately, kind of losing the Fantoon lottery here out of the 4, was about even with Owl entering Fantoon and is now pretty comfortably behind. I didn't
And,
see what the patterns were.
and just looking at the SRL chat with the Fantoon fight, we do see a lot of slow patterns in there. So it's not just them, it's Fantoon in general. You love to give us those slow.
Yeah, so just for the first round, Fantoon has a 50% chance to give you a slow and a 50% chance to give you either a fast or a mid. It's 25% for both, I believe.
Yeah, it's 50% and 25%.
And then after that, Fantoon can do one of 2 movement patterns around the area, and
Mm-hmm.
depending on which one it happens, you'll either usually get a mid slow or usually get a fast slow. And
Yep.
so if you've been doing the math, basically, you get a lot of slows.
Yeah, because one of the patterns, the second round and more, the mid is really rare, and the other patterns, the fast is really rare.
I don't think we had any rare patterns on the stream, but it is a thing that happens. I know one of the runners in SRL mentioned they got a rare fast, so it seems they had a 3-round Fantoon as well. Optimally, you want a 2-round, so it looks like they were not anticipating the rare pattern and didn't quite execute it. But that is nothing to be ashamed of.
No.
Now we're coming up on the wreck ship E-Tank. They had to go through a pretty dangerous room to get here, which you see Rasu going through right now.
Ooh, Russell, please. Oh,
Oh, he's dead.
dead. He's dead. That's why this room is also called the spiky room of death. Because it's very easy, and Russell did forfeit from the race. It's that room I've taken a lot of players. It's a very dangerous room. It's after that room, there's no longer risk of death, but up to that point, you can still die because of that room. But once
Yeah,
done, it's done.
that room is basically the last point of danger in 100%, and we see Owl making it the other way through. So we do have 3 of the 4 runners making it through. But those spike key platforms, the moving spike platforms, do 100 damage, and your reserves fill you up exactly 100 health. But if your reserves fill you up more than 60 health, I believe,
And
then you will trigger damage again. So you will
it's
just
90 for enemies, and the platform's enemies, 60 for spike. Because
right,
of all
so,
the iframe work differently between enemy and spike.
right. So unfortunately, if you get hit by that with just 1 reserve and it's a full reserve, then you will die, even with the reserves popping. And that's what happened to Rasu there. So unfortunately, we do see a forfeit. We'll see if we can get another player on restream. Sad what happened to Rasu, but now we're replacing him. XD. It's like nothing ever happened. All right, sorry for the bit of silence. We're just working on getting another player on restream. I'll let John handle that while I keep yelling at all the runners who are still alive.
All right.
Looks like everyone got the 2 missiles up in this upper area of criteria. They're both in kind of weird spots. One is in the ceiling and one's through a little bit of a maze, so they're kind of a pain to get, but looks like most of our runners got them without too much trouble. So to answer chat, Rasu died in a room called Spiky Room of Death. He unfortunately got hit by one of the spike platforms twice, and he died. Hence the name. Sometimes we name things good. Sometimes. And so the runner's going to be picking up the missile and the reserve tank behind Gravity Suit before going to get that item. We actually see Owl and Toasty are almost exactly synced here. This is pretty crazy. Owl's robots were in a slightly better position, so he pulls a few frames ahead. I don't know if that's RNG or something he did, but either way, is going to be slightly ahead of Toasty now. But Zeb still in the lead by a little bit. Going to be the first to get that Gravity Suit. Seeing a lot of calls in chat for a certain runner who may or may not be currently in the race. I'm not going to say his name out loud, though, of course. It might incite something within the depths of Twitch chat. So anyways, we'll see what Zeb uses to get up to... Looks like he is going to do a save. So there's a few things you can do here. You want to do a spark up to the top right of this room to pick up a power bomb, and then you want to do a spark actually all the way from this room to another room. You need a set amount of health to do that. What most runners will opt to do, is, especially early on when they just start running hundo, is they are going to take a refill at the ship since it's there. It also lets them check how many items they have if they've missed anything. In this case, for Zeb, it's mostly for the health, and Toasty's going to be taking the refill as well. They should have 100 missiles. It looked like Zeb had 95. That's worrying.
All right, so far we did found our fourth runner to restring will be Sir Uptapped so far.
John, you run hundo more than I do. When you When you finish wrecked ship, how many missiles should you have?
Depending of what round, I think with grapples you should have 100 missiles. It's been a while I didn't run Undo though.
Okay, I'm more used with ice. I say that because Zeb had 95.
95, yeah, he's missing one.
Toasty had 100.
If I'm remembering correctly, because in ice with more use, you have 15 less missiles, and normally I have 85. No, with ice, so 15 more will be 100.
Okay, I don't know. Okay, I'm seeing chat that they should be at 95, and Toasty picked up charge missiles, and hopefully that's the case. That actually, now that I think about it, that sounds right. So I was worried about I was worried about Zeb's well-being for a little bit there.
Oh yes, Toasty did pick up a charge missile, so he has one more missile than he's supposed to have. But like I said, it's been a while I didn't run Undo, so my memory is not that super fresh on how many missiles you shall have.
Okay, well, if that's the case, then both runners do have all the missiles that they're supposed to have. So, no cause for alarm. We didn't see Owl refill. He actually did the spark all the way and then saved health to do the gauntlet spark, which we didn't really mention because I was talking about missiles, and John was setting up the new fourth person for the restream. But the point is, you spark through 2 rooms because you shoot a door out of bounds. That's my 5-second explanation for that.
Yeah,
So all the runners do it.
Yeah, the wraparound shot is when you hit the door, because the way rooms are made, there's always a copy of that room out of bound. Always the top left will be a little lower to the right. So when you shoot a beams, you can hit the copy of that doors in out of bound. And since beams don't despawn automatically at a certain distance when you're out of your screen, they need to be a little more out. You can still hit that door and open the real door, since it's a copycat of the room. You're hitting the same door basically.
Yeah, the same thing actually happened in Crocomeyer's room for those who were paying attention. The runners would do a shot right below the E-tank behind Crocomeyer, and it would go out of bounds and then go to an identical copy of the room out of bounds to the right. And before it completely despawned, it would hit the copy of the door on the one frame it was out of bounds.
Yep.
The left. And so they were able to spark all the way through that, all the way over to the Crocomeyer power bombs. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like everyone opened the door. There was a little bit of trouble, but it is still a strat that you generally want to do if you can. And Sir Hoptat is going to be on the stream soon enough. We see him there. We're going to get him cropped and get his stream running in just a moment. Sir Hoptat, another runner who's very close to these 4, I believe.
Yeah, you have a 126 20x. So he's pretty close to them.
Yep, 126.26. Unfortunately, his qualifier times are a little bit lower. Has a 128 currently, but that means he has a lot of room to improve. So hopefully we see him do a good run here, and we are going to see it live on the restream now. So welcome, Sir Hoptat. So all of our runners doing Brinstar cleanup here.
Mm-hmm. Did any of them did the Mission Impossible?
I don't think so. Toasty definitely didn't. I don't think Zeb or Owl did. Mission Impossible is a very tricky strat.
Let's save very few times, though.
You do save times. One of the areas that if you don't actively run 100%, you are going to lose a lot of time, because there's a lot of rooms that you normally wouldn't even go to.
And Sir Hoptat did get the Mission Impossible strat.
Oh. Really impressive there. So we're going to see him save a little bit of time. It looks like he's not too far behind the likes of...
His timer is 10 seconds ahead, though, so they will still need to freeze probably the others, so they can put all of them in sync.
Well, they would just need to freeze Hoptat for 10 seconds, and then everything should be fine.
Yeah.
But we'll get that done in just a second. But yeah, Hoptat, considering he has a bit worse of a qualifier time and a bit worse of a PB time than the other runners here, is making pretty good pace for himself. We could be looking at the fabled race PB, but I don't want to speak too soon. That shot on the super block there that normally prevents you from entering Spore Spawn the wrong way works the same way as the wraparound shot. Almost. The super missile doesn't despawn.
No, it's not technically the same work as the wraparound shot work.
It doesn't use the same out of bounds thing, but it does use the same shot not disappearing the first frame. It's completely out of bounds. So it'll hit the super block on that frame that it's out of bounds.
Yes,
or not out of bounds, but off the screen.
The reason for that is because super missile are composed of 2 projectiles, and depending on the pixel-wise position you are, the acceleration of the super missile will see if it despawn or not before touching the items, because it's 2 projectiles. It's pretty complicated, so I won't go too far on it, but it's mainly because they are 2 projectiles.
Okay, I almost knew what I was talking about.
Yeah, it's very obscure the reason why. So it's those things you know when you talk a lot with realm hackers and particular Eternized Dragon, aka ED.
ED is one of the main sources for the technical side of Super Metroid. He's pretty
If
active
you
on the Super Metroid Discord, so you can feel free to ping him and tell him he is cool. Actually, do that right now. Everyone in that Discord, ping
Aaron
at
Jaeger.
Aaron semicolon Yager and tell him he's cool.
Yeah, that guy's a really cool guy. I have a ton of information. If you have any question about anything technicals of this game, you should ask him. He is the encyclopedia of Super Metroid.
Really nice strat there from Zeb, doing the short charge on the very bottom of the main street in order to get the main street missiles. Normally we'll see runners go up to this platform that he's on right now and do a short charge from there because it's a lot easier, but Zeb actually did one from the bottom and was able to get the missile. Pretty impressive.
Oh, and nice short charge for Canadian Howl in Main Street. That's a really tough short charge.
Yep, I just explained it. Toasty, of course, going for the easier one, which is nothing to be ashamed of. Still gets it first try. And now they need to pick up the items at Mama Turtle. There is a missile in the wall that is maybe not as easy to forget as some of the other hidden items, but it's one of the harder items to find when you're just starting or when you're trying to hundo the game casually. It's in a very weird position, just in a wall. Not where you would normally expect an item to be. And you can't X-ray it either because it's so far off the ground. So, bit silly.
I thought went to try to for the Shine Spark here. Instead of doing the frame perfect jump, it's way more easier. And I heard it's the same speed doing the Shine Spark up there than doing the frame perfect jump for Undo.
Really?
Yes.
That's cool. Unfortunately, it looks like he bonked it, so he's going to be a little bit sad there. You know, honestly, this is about the point where I kind of expected Owl and Toshi to be overtaking Zeb, but he's still holding on to a pretty comfortable lead at the moment. You know, he's got very slick movement, and I don't want to discredit his hunting skills at all.
Oh yeah. But I mean, Owl did make a ton of serious mistake also at the beginning, so
that is true. But there's still plenty of time to catch up. There's still 2 more areas in the game, not even counting Turian, that they need to collect items in. So we're going to see that now. Toasty and Owl have been very close for the entirety of the Brinstar cleanup as well.
Mm-hmm.
They've been only a few seconds apart for most of it. So once again, always cool to see a really close race on the restream. Hopefully it stays that way. And of course, Hoptat a little bit behind, but not too far behind. There are still a lot of areas where you can lose a lot of time in Hundo. Hoptat is doing a lot of real nice strats, like that deboost off the fish in this room to get to this missile quicker, as well as other bigger strats like the Mission Impossible earlier. He definitely is very comfortable with Hundo, although might not have the same general movement that the others have. He is making up for it with the strats that he's going for and getting.
The thing is that Sir Hoptat did begin running with Undo also. He's way more experienced with Undo than any other categories. I think he did run a few any percent, but his main categories is 100%.
Yep, like I've been saying, Hundo is a very good category if you're looking to start running the game. It's very beginner friendly, and it's honestly not as hard as you may think it is to remember to get all the items. Once you get the route down, you will generally be finishing the majority of your runs. I don't know if Zeb actually despawned Batwoon. He might have left the room before Batwoon technically despawned.
I didn't really see his Zed fight, so I can tell if he did these spawnings. I will go with your judgment.
I mean, I don't think it matters in this category because he won't be going back to that room. He'll just be going. He'll be taking the sand pits in the post Botwoon room. But it does matter in some categories because if Botwoon still spawned, that means that wall that you'll notice is blocking Toasty's path here is also still spawned. So you can't go that way. You would have to kill Botwoon from behind that wall, which is possible with Wave Beam, and is technically possible with Super Missiles, because you can actually fire the Super Missiles past the wall using the weird acceleration in this game.
It is also technically possible with a charge shot without wave, if it is an angle shot at the right position. There's some puzzle I can playing it on that.
Yeah, so it is possible to kill Botwoon from that side of the wall, but it loses you a lot of time. But luckily, we don't need to worry about that because none of the runners will be returning to that room.
Really nice grapple from Toasty. Showing like a boss how to use grapple beam in Colosseum.
Yeah, grapple beam is a fun item to play around with, although it is a little bit counterintuitive to people who play the game casually. We in the Super Metroid speedrun community are no casuals, as they say. Except John, he's a casual.
Yeah, feels bad, man.
I told him, though.
So we have the dragon fight. Zeb did already kill our dragon, so... Or is I shall say, I don't know how pronouns work in English when it's to someone compared to French.
Yep, Owl also getting a pretty nice kill on Dragon. Unfortunately, doesn't get that blue suit, so we won't be able to spark back over Colosseum. Colosseum being this big room, currently see Zeb sparking in.
And Toasty will show the beginner-friendly grapple kill on Dragon. He missed a quick grapple kill though.
Yeah, you can actually position yourself so that you can grapple onto that lower broken turret. And it saves a good amount of time because sometimes Dragon can swing you around and hit you for a while before you can actually do a position to grapple. Toasty actually got pretty good RNG though. Every time Dragon goes to hit you, she'll freeze in place and she can hit you like 4 or 5 times before she actually reaches that point. So Toasty got pretty lucky.
So that's the very beginner-friendly kill for dragons. If you're not comfortable with your dragon kills in the 100% and you're doing early croc, just let the dragon grab you, use grapple, kill her, and it's that easy.
Yep, and so all of our runners have defeated Dragon. So now it's time for the Meridia cleanup, starting at least for Owl, I believe Zeb as well, starting with the Botwoon E-Tank, which they ran past on their way to Dragon the first time. Then there's some items in Aqueduct, which we saw Zeb pick up, and we'll see Owl pick up in just a second. Oh, actually, it looks like he's going to be picking those up on his second trip through this area instead of...
It's technically faster to do Blue Bomber to get the items, but if you're not comfortable or not experienced enough with Blue Bomber, taking it right now, it's not a waste of time at all. Because if you try Blue Bomber and fail, you lose more time.
Toasty actually picked up that E-Tank before he went to Dragon. A little bit funny, though.
I think Toasty has too much 80% muscle memory. That's why. Like, how he did pick up a charged missile at the beginning of the run.
Yeah, maybe. And we'll see Owl and Zeb going to Shack Tool. It looks like Owl has caught up a lot to Zeb, but that isn't real time save because he still needs to pick up the Aqueduct items while Zeb does not. So Zeb is still pretty comfortably in the lead. Don't let your eyes fool you.
And yes, it is a close race.
Oh, it is still very close for sure, but it isn't quite as close as it looks.
Yeah, that's true. So now we're seeing Toasty going with a morph on morph the sand pit. Each time you morph and unmorph, you go down faster. Because it's like, when you unmorph it, I think it's like because you're like eating a ceiling in Super Metroid. When you unmorph below a ceiling, it pushes you down. So
Yeah, you are constantly in a ceiling when you're in quicksand. That's how it's programmed, I suppose. So you do go a little bit faster going down while you're morphing and unmorphing. There's a couple other strats you can use to go through the sand a little bit faster. That's the most common one.
yeah, it's the most easier one. Also, the hardest one, but the fastest one is doing a moonfall. At the same frame, you enter the door transition. We can see because it is technically a door transition.
Yep, the door transition is a block.
Yep.
You can technically interact with in a few different ways. You'll actually see your runners turn back as they hit a door sometimes. That's called a wall jump check. And it's so when you wall jump, your hitbox is actually extended towards the direction that you're going towards, because it makes it a little bit easier to wall jump. So you can actually hit the door transition block before you are all the way there visually. And so when you're not in a room that requires you to go in the same direction that you enter, such as if you're going up a room, then it's faster to wall jump check the door and not go all the way through the door.
Or if you have to wait, like when entering a boss fight, that's another place you want to do a wall jump check.
Yep, that as well. We'll see if any of the runners do a good wall jump check here so I can point it out. It doesn't look like it though. Maybe Owl does a good one here. No, he just runs through the door. I'm mad.
Yeah, I don't. The other ones I know for sure they will do a wall jump check. It will be in thank you to C for King Shack Tools. Or we kill Shack Tool by the ways. And as I was saying, the only other place I know they will do it, I don't think there's others really, will be for when they will enter the Ridley fight.
Yep, by then we'll forget about it, and we probably won't point it out, but it is a thing they'll do. So if you do remember, then be sure to check it out. They'll be slightly outside of the door visually, but they will activate the door transition anyways, so it's a very subtle thing. If you've never run the game, it's not something you'd ever really pay attention to, but it does save a lot of time over the course of the run if you do it consistently when you're supposed to. Anyways, the runners have picked up Plasma Beam, or at least Zeb and Owl have. Toasty and Hoptat are both on their way. I believe this is also a bit of false tie here for Toasty. I think he also didn't pick up... Or, wait, hold on, let me think. I think one of the two runners didn't pick up the Aqueduct items, but I'm not sure. I'll have to see when they get
that didn't pick up early. Toasty then went all the way down to do the Shine Spark to the Aqueduct item.
So Hoptat is still a little bit behind Toasty. It's not quite even, but it's still very close between them as well. And you're going to see Owl. He did lose a few seconds to Zeb's movement, and he's going to lose some more because he needs to pick up these items now. Nope, doesn't quite get the really tight short charge, so just does the one at the bottom. There is a real fancy strat you can do through that flashing gray door, which involves springballing all the way up the short vertical room, but it is very difficult. It's really cool though. I think the first, the door at the bottom of the sandpit that opens when you kill Dragon.
Oh,
like going into Cack Alley.
Yeah.
I think the first video I ever saw from Zosty was a video of him doing that strat. I don't remember what it's called, but it's uploaded like 7 years ago. It's called like Hundo Swag or something like that. It's still up. You can watch it right now. Don't do it though, because that means you wouldn't be watching us. That's way more important, really.
Oh yeah, this qualifier race is way more important to watch for the moment.
There's actually a lot of interesting things in this qualifier. There are a lot of runners that are just barely on the cusp of qualifying or not qualifying that kind of need a good run in order to make it. Only the top 48 runners qualify, and I believe that doesn't change at all. I don't think we'll have enough to have 64. I don't know exactly how the rules work, though. Somebody can update me.
Zeb has just taken the crate missiles. That's why that you can do the option of doing early power bombs when you run under for getting that missile early instead of having to revisit crate's lair for it.
And I would like to remind chat that we do want to keep the discussion focused on the race currently being restreamed. We don't want the off-stream runners taking up too much space in the chat. So if we could, do that. Thank you for your cooperation. Some other corporate stuff that I legally have to say. They'll literally sue me. I'm scared. Please send help.
So now we have our ice beam taken. After that, the only other items they will take before going to lower warfare will be the crumble shaft missiles that's below ice beam. And then they will go all the way to lower warfare.
Yep, of course they can't do lower Norfair first when they do their first trip to upper Norfair because you actually need space jump in order to activate the golden Chozo statue that lets you get to the GT missiles. So that and a couple other restrictions means that you have to do the bosses in intended order in this category, unless you want to do really dumb tricks that nobody's ever done.
Yeah, even then, I think Zenny did test doing World Warfare before, Brick Ship and all. And with the take off super jump, I think even that was slower. And it's a very dumb tricks to try. So it's a good thing that it's overall slower.
Yeah, I believe Zenny did it out of a save state. I don't think he ever did it like true in real time. But I could be wrong about that. Either way, not something we need to worry about now. No. Basically, all you need to know is you have to run the game in intended boss order to pick up all the items and not do a ton of backtracking. So honestly, it's kind of impressive how little backtracking there is in the route. Every area is only visited about twice at the most, which is real nice.
That is very nice because a lot of games like to force you to backtrack a lot to get all the items.
Yep. So this is the statue I was talking about. You're going to see on Zeb's screen, hiding behind this power bomb wall. This statue will just not activate if you don't have space jump. So you have to have it.
Yeah, it is code to activate only with the space jump.
So actually, the bowling statue in Wreck Ship also has an item requirement for it to activate. However, that item is Morph Ball. So basically, it'll always activate since you can't get to that point without Morph Ball.
That's
without using a randomizer, basically.
Even if you could, you need to morph to be inside the end, so to be able to activate it, you need to morph. So again, it's not really a hard item requirement.
Yep, so in effect, there's no item requirement. For some reason, there is an item requirement that's actually significant here. It's pretty useless in a casual setting. I imagine they just picked an item at random and they picked Space Jump because that was the item that you needed in order to get down to this area in the first place.
Probably.
But it does end up having an impact because it means you need Space Jump to pick up this missile that you see on Zeb's screen, or Owl's screen.
It's like
on Zeb's a little bit earlier.
It's like for Bomb Theory, so the item to activate the fight is bombs. So as long as you don't take bombs, you can leave him, not fight that mini boss. But you do need to fight him anyway because you need bombs to continue.
Yep, it creates a little bit of a weird situation if you are running item randomizer, where sometimes the door just won't close because you don't have bombs, and sometimes the door will close immediately because you enter the room with bombs. But in a casual setting, it never really comes into play. And now Zeb is fully equipped, and so is Owl.
And Toasty doing the safe strat here, using Spring Ball. Fun thing with Spring Ball and Crumble Blocks in Super Metroid is that if you fall on the Crumble Blocks and morph and you have Spring Ball, you just need to hold jump, and once you land, you will Spring Ball. You can do that in the GBA Troy though, in Zero Mission or Fusion, because you will fall, and it's frame perfect to try to jump in those games. At least for Metroid, if you fall not in Spring Ball, but in standing position, you have 2 to 3 frames to try to jump, not fall.
Yep, luckily with Spring Ball equipped, if you hold jump in Morph Ball, you will bounce off a platform the first frame you possibly can, I believe. So you don't need to worry about those crumble blocks. And so that's what Toasty did there, just making sure that he didn't accidentally fall through.
It's a very valid safe strat, because if you fall down, it's I think a 2-minute penalty you have, because you have to do all the way around to try to re-get those missiles. It's very penalizing.
You have to go all the way around, activate the statue cutscene again. Don't have to fight GT again.
No, you don't have to activate the statue again. Once it is activated, it's activated forever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, it's still a long way around.
Yeah, it is a long way around.
See, that's why I have John here, because he's the expert. He just knows.
And Kenneth and I did use the power bombs in the amphitheaters. The reason why you use the power bomb there is because power bombs has the ability to basically override all the sound in the room. So normally the door need to wait for the sound cue to clean up, but power bombs you just clean it up, so it's only power bombs is in the sound queue. And since that room lags a lot because of all that sound queue that needs to wait for amphitheaters, power bombs make it faster, even though power bombs lag also in that room. It's just how much the doors have to wait from all that sound.
Yep, it is a little bit trickier than just laying a power bomb, because you are locked out of shooting right after you lay a power bomb, so you need to lay it fairly early. You can't, if you lay it too late, then you won't be able to shoot the door open in time. If you lay it too early, then you just cause too much lag in the room and you lose time. So it's a little bit tricky, but Owl gets it, I believe. I didn't really see.
I did see him. I think he did get it fairly well. He didn't save all the time he killed, but I think he did save enough time to make it work.
Zeb with a really clean Ridley fight, by the way. It doesn't look like he used any ammo on the fight, just used his fully charged up charge shots. But had a really clean fight, and that's more
showing why Space Jump is the worst item in the game, because he did fail his Space Jump in Amphitheater. Space Jump is a bad item.
Yep, everyone's been in a situation where they press jump too early and Space Jump isn't ready, and then they press it too late and Space Jump has expired, so they just fall. It's very sad, and it's not fun. But luckily, if you're good at the game, unlike John, it never happens to you anymore, and you are safe.
Wow! Yeah, that's why I run the route instead, because I don't have to deal with the Space Jump. I'm just bad at the game.
Yep, new route is for people who are bad at the game. You heard it here. So we'll see Toasty also on that Ridley fight. Owl had a pretty clean fight as well. Zeb, though, is really showing off this race. He was last out of the 4 original runners on the restream, and he's definitely showing up. He's here to stay, and he's not gonna let us forget it.
Maybe it's the old PB also, because he do a lot of randomizer also. He's more of a randomizer player than a undo or any percentile player.
Yeah, he does do a lot of randomizers. He is also a very experienced any percent runner. I believe he has a low 46 old route any percent, which is very impressive.
Oh yeah, it is very impressive.
And runners not, well, Zeb not going to forget about that E-Tank at Firefleet. So one of the safeties that I see some people do when they start out is actually go to the Firefly E-Tank to get a health refill before Ridley. Obviously not needed in this category because you already have so much health going into the fight,
Yeah.
but it is a nice little thing you can do in any percent if you're just starting out and want the extra refill.
Even Undo can still be a nice safety take for newer players if they begin with Undo, because really, even if you have a lot of E-tanks and ammo, it's still a very hard fight, because Ridley's AI depend off your movement. That's why people like Zeb set up that Thirsty and all. Looks like the Ridley fight was easy and clean because they know how to move around that fight. But for somebody that is not very knowledgeable, like a new players, that fight is very chaotic because Ridley's movement will move depending on how you move, and if you move in a very chaotic way, Ridley will move in a very chaotic way, and you can lose control very fast. So it's still a nice safety for newer players, though, even for 100%.
Yeah, Hoptat also kind of did the same thing. His health got not like critically low. He had about 4 E-tanks left on Ridley, but he did take a lot of damage. So, yeah, that is just a fight where you take a lot of damage if it goes wrong, and it goes wrong very easily.
Oh yeah.
There is basically no point in running this game where Ridley isn't going to be a pain. And so you just something you're going to have to work around. It's definitely one of the harder points of running the game, at least in my experience. And honestly, it's still pretty fun. Like doing harder stuff that you don't necessarily have a set strat for is very fun and rewarding to do well.
Yeah,
But enough about...
Ridley is one of the boss that when you do well, it's very rewarding. That I agree with.
Yep, but enough about personal anecdotes. Zeb is still cruising along, gonna be picking up those items in Upper Norfair that he missed, including these 3 items up in the top left corner of Bubble Mountain. There's one more at the bottom right of Bubble Mountain. And then I believe that's all the items in Norfair, if I'm not mistaken.
For early Croc, yes, it is all the items. If they have done Lake Croc, after taking all the items Bubble Mountains, they will still need to visit Croc in the area for Grapple Me in the rest. But since they already did that way earlier in the round, they just need to then get out of here.
So here's a nice little thing. Zeb actually has full missiles here. He has 205, and he will be picking up exactly 5 more missile packs. There are 3 in Retro Brinstar and 2 in Criteria. So we actually know he has full missiles, and since generally the item that you're going to forget if you forget an item is going to be a missile, we can pretty safely assume that Zeb is going to be getting all the items.
Yeah.
So that's a nice little thing to see as a spectator.
Oh, and Kenzin all killing the Rippers. After he did freeze the Ripper and then kill the Rippers, so he can exit way faster and with more ease. Because that Rippers, even when you froze it, it's pretty much in the way. So what's a nice thing to do? Kill that Ripper.
Also, the Rippers will drop a super missile guaranteed, so that's a nice thing. You don't need to worry about your super going to waste. Although I think there is technically like a very low chance that it can drop a big health.
I think it's below 1% chance they will drop health if you're not full on super. So you really need to be unlucky for that.
I think it's a 2 out of 102 chance that it drops a health. So
Yeah, about that.
it'll happen once every 51 runs on average. So not really odds that you need to worry about. And even if it doesn't drop a super missile, then you still have plenty in this category.
The worst that happened to me with that enemy not dropping supers, I should drop a super normally, is the cack attack in the new bridge. It's that one really hurt. Because it's so early in the game, he has so few super.
Yeah, the early cack attacks can troll you by giving you a less than 2% health drop instead of a super missile, because you really need the early super missiles in pretty much every category. But luckily that didn't happen to any of our runners on stream. I can't really say if it happened to Hoptat or not, because he was not on the restream at first. But it doesn't look like it happened. I can't really say for sure though. We have kind of seen the runners be divided. All of them are separated by about a minute or so, with Zeb in the front, Owl in second, Toasty in third, and then Hoptat in fourth. Which is kind of expected based on the runner's skill levels, to be honest.
I think
not every race is going to be super close.
Yeah, I think Uptat is more than a minute behind the Toasty, because Toasty is the third in place in the restream.
Well, I mean, it's not exactly a minute, but it's around that area. And even though not every race is going to be a down to the wire, just being within a minute of another runner is still considered pretty close in this category, even if it's not maybe not as exciting to watch. So all the runners doing very well, considering, like I said, where their PB is in the category.
Yeah, they're doing very well so far.
So I'm hearing from chat that the chance for, I believe, the Ripper and the Cack Attack, I believe they share the same drop table, but the chance of them to drop a big health is 0.4 out of 102, so it is less than 1%. It's like a third of a percent, basically.
It's extremely low. You need to be unlucky for that. Or depending on your viewpoint, you need to be lucky for that.
Actually, I think it is 2 out of 102.4 for Rippers, but I could be just making things up.
I know the drop tables, my recording is out of 255 normally.
That would make sense. 255 is a good number if you're ever in programming, because that is 1 byte, I believe, is the proper terminology there.
And I think we did saw Zeb doing the Shine Spark across all modern crews, which is the standard strat you want to do. And talking about the outside of the restream, just to say, Shiny Zenny finished first place with a time 1:15:06, an official SRL time 1:15:06. Congratulations to Shiny Zenny being first in this qualifying race.
Yep, it does look like Oats and Goats has pre-typed .done, so he'll be finishing very shortly. Once again, we aren't going to spend a lot of time focusing on the race off stream, but are going to point out the top 2 runners in the qualifier. I don't believe either of them improved their qualifier time, but they both ran a very incredible time. Oats just finishing with another 1:15. So that's cool.
Yep.
And Zeb has picked up all his items. You see he has 230 missiles. And now he is on his way to Turian. Hopefully he didn't forget anything silly like a power bomb. I've done that before, though. I think the silliest item I've ever forgotten in Hundo is the beta power bombs. The other power bombs in Red Tower. I forgot those ones.
Me, the silliest item I miss is 230 missiles.
That's rough.
Yeah. So when you're like you're in PB pace and you're mixing items, like which one it is, and you look at the fuzz and you see you didn't took 230 missiles, it hurts a lot in your ego.
Yeah, I remember I didn't forget them completely because I went back for them, but I forgot the Mama Turtle items in a run. And I ended up PBing that run, actually, after losing all the time I was ahead to pick them up. So that was a nice little thing. I don't really run this category very often, though, so my PB is not very good.
So Sir Opta also going to do the Shine Spark in not climb in all modern rooms. The way how it works is that when you use elevators, the Shine Spark timers don't run out, unlike the GPA Metroid games. So you can charge a Shine Spark, use an elevator, and then use it later. Oh, and he did goops. That's pretty sad though. Which make the crossing of that room way faster and easier.
So Zeb, what he just tried to do there was pause down the elevator, because A, you want to turn a couple items off when you're entering Turian just to make things a little bit easier, and B, if you pause during a downward elevator transition, it will actually make the transition shorter by about, what did you say, 45 frames?
40 frame.
40 frames, so it saves about 2/3 of a second over just pausing at any position. Unfortunately, Zeb actually paused too early, I believe, so he wasn't actually going down the elevator when the pause happened, so he didn't save those frames, but it's not too bad.
So, it is supposed to remove screw attack because it make the Zebedee skip a lot easier for a certain person, because for me, to be honest, I find the dumb back skip the easiest one, but for some it's really hard, so it's quite understandable that he did remove screw attack, because you can do the standards a bit like skip with screw attack on.
So personally, as a GT Classic runner, I'm a fan of the Spring Ball Zeb skip, but that's not something that we're going to be seeing here.
No, it's
actually Toasty, I know you're listening. Do the Spring Ball skip. I know you can do it. I know he's there. He's listening to us. I don't actually know if you're allowed to listen to the qualifiers, so maybe he's not.
Oh, you can listen to the qualifier since it's not a randomizer.
So, Zeb, he's actually still alive in this baby skip attempt. I thought he was doomed after he hit that enemy, but he actually gets it. Look at that. It's gonna be a little bit slow, but he does get the skip.
Faster than missing the skip.
Yep, it is still faster than missing the skip. And so he's gonna be on his way to Mother Brain. As we're gonna see Owl potentially go for baby skip as well. He is damaging himself down a little bit, so if he does miss it, he will be at lower health, so it'll take the baby less time to get him down to 1, and if he does get it, he wants to lose that health anyways, and it looks like he did. I don't know what he messed up there.
I think he jumped that
second jump was too early, so the baby didn't have enough rotational momentum.
Also hurting, even if you get baby skip, it's still good because you still need to hurt yourself for the stand-up glitch Mother Brain fight. And talking about Mother Brain fight, we do have Zeb fighting Mother Brain 2.
Yep, this is a nice and easy fight with the fully charged beam combo, or fully... what's the word you want to use here? Give me a word. Any word, John.
Plasma full beam combo.
You just said. Whatever John said, though. Point is, it takes him 20 shots to kill Mother Brain, and so it's nice and easy. He is going to do the stand-up glitch, which happens if you have between 700 and 799 HP. When you get hit by that first rainbow beam, you are able to stand up, and you can manipulate your health to still remain in the standing position and have Metroid.
Can I see that Al is doing your skip?
Oh, let's go. He did the spring ball skip.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a nice little trick. It does actually save time in GT Classic specifically, I believe.
It's the fastest
skip in GT
Classic because you save health.
Yeah, you don't have to take damage in order to do the skip, so you can actually fight Mother Brain and then do the stand-up glitch without having to pause and fill your health with reserves. So it saves however much that is. As Toasty going to be popping his reserves because he missed baby skip. Looks like he's planning on doing a crystal flash on Mother Brain. Hopefully he doesn't use the super missiles here because he would be soft locked.
and taking damage from the acid makes it to be in crystal flash range.
Yep, Toasty's playing this. Might not look smart, but it is what he should be doing. And he gets in perfect crystal flash health. Look at that. Now he's got 13 tries at this. He can't mess it up. Kappa.
And I think Sir Uptat will also do the same things as Toasty. He did pop out all of his reserve ahead of time by posing. But the thing is that it is slower to post user reserve, because reserve drains at a rate of 1 per frame, so it's faster to let it use automatically than going to your menu, because you have the posing times adding to the reserve refilling time.
Yep. And so we see Toasty damaging himself down for the stand-up, as Owl has already done that, and he's begun his. We didn't really talk about Zeb's stand-up, but it looks like it was pretty clean. I didn't really watch it too much.
No, but its escape looks pretty clean though.
Yep, he's actually on pace to smash his qualifier time. He had a high 125. This is going to be a 123. So he's going to be in a much more comfortable position for qualifying for the tournament. I think he was fine either way, but it is nice to get that extra little bit of guaranteed. It's nice to get a better time in the qualifier, basically. You know how it is. And it looks like Hoptat is also going to do a Crystal Flash here.
And congratulations to Zeb, finishing with an official SRL times of 1 minute 23. No, 1 minute. 1 hours 23 minutes and 21 seconds.
Actually tied in 6th place with Apathy Duck. So cool that we did see a run tied to the second. I believe Apathy Duck donned a little bit earlier. But still, for all intents and purposes, that is a tie. And now Owl's going to be going as well. I think Owl is also on pace to beat his qualifier time. It's not going to be by a full 2.5 minutes, but he is still on pace to beat it by a few seconds, as long as he doesn't mess up escape. And he has done an SRL, but I won't spoil anything. As Toasty also begins his escape. He's, I believe, going to be doing a little bit worse than his first qualifier time, but that's nothing to really worry about. If he is worried, he can join the last qualifier going to be happening at 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow for anyone who wants to watch that. We're seeing a lot of runners off-stream dunning. There are a lot of runners in this race.
Oh yeah, I think there's, what, 32 runners in total?
33.
33?
There's a lot.
And GG to Canadian Hall. I think its times, its official SL times is 1 hour, 25 minutes and 1 second. That gave him the 11th place of this qualifying race.
Okay, so I want to talk about this. 3 people, Rudy, Maniacal, and Nevdi, all donned with an official SRL time of 1:25:40. There was a 3-way tie.
Wow, that is something. Already a normal tie is rare. Now a 3-way tie, that is a very rare occasion.
Yep, and I believe that is a qualifier. That is going to be their official qualifier time for all 3. So that's real cool. Really cool stuff.
And seem to Uptat get a perfect Mother Brain 3 fight, perfect stand up. And GG to Toasty, finishing in 5th place with an official SL time of 1 hour, 25 minutes and 52 seconds.
And so now it is on to Hoptat. I believe his qualifier time was a 1:28. He's on pace for a low 1:27, so he's also going to be getting a nice little time for himself in the race. So as of before this race started, the cutoff date, or the cutoff time, the 48th place runner had a 1:30:17 So I believe that's going to be raised by a little bit after this, but in general, I would expect anything above about like a 128 or above a 128 should be enough to qualify. I'm hearing myself in my headset. I don't know when this happened, but it hurts.
And nice beam at Spark from Sir up that. I think he's the only one also to get it in the stream.
Well, that's not what I wanted to do. That's alright. I accidentally marked the runners done in the wrong order, so officially, according to SpeedGaming, Toasty got second and Owl got third. And honestly, it's better that way if you think about it.
I agree with that. And GG to Sir up that, finishing 90th place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 27 minutes, and 26 seconds.
And with that, all 4 of our restream runners have finished. We did need a replacement, as we did have a death in the spiky room of death, but Hoptat, performed well with the sudden being under much more scrutiny. He played pretty well. And he's going to be rewarded with a nice qualifier time. And so they are all marked, done now. So we'll see if any of them want to join us for an interview. We are only going to be getting an interview from the runners that were on restream. So if you're here waiting for an interview from Oats and Goats, go away. We'll see if anyone wants to join for a restream or a interview. In the meantime, we can talk about the state of the qualifiers. A lot of runners getting qualifier PBs. Like I said, the top 48 times are going to be qualifying for the tournament, and currently the 48th place time is a low 130. So, for a lot of Hoptat, especially out of these runners, was right on the edge of not qualifying, and so getting a nice PB or a nice qualifier time here gonna be really, really nice for him. Gonna secure that top 48. Obviously not technically secured, but at this point, most likely.
At least he's still making it.
And once again, like I said, there is going to be one more qualifier tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern. I believe that's the last one. If I can get confirmation. I keep saying it's the last one, so I want to make sure I'm not crazy. And so that will be the last chance for the runners outside of the cutoff to qualify. So you can go ahead and check that out if you're the kind of person to be awake at that time. I myself am not normally.
Nah, me too. I'm awake late.
Looks like we are actually going to have Zeb in for an interview in a moment. Anyways, so while we're waiting for him to get ready, you can go ahead and follow. We'll see if the runners command has been updated to show Hoptat instead of Rasu. It hasn't.
No, it didn't. So just let me.
You can follow us too. But yeah, make sure to follow all 4 original runners and Sir Hoptat. All of them are cool. And me and John are both also kind of cool, at least.
You're cool, that's for sure. Me, I'm not sure, though. I'm just the knowledgeable person.
Yeah, sorry, you're French, so you can't be cool. You know how it is.
Exactly. Feels
I
bad,
don't make
man.
the rules, I just enforce them. Yep, so we got Sir Hoptat and Zeb waiting or getting ready for an interview. We'll see if they can go ahead and move in whenever. I don't know if they're still listening to the restream. Well, we'll get to hear from them, and then after that, we'll get ready for the 9 a.m. qualifier. So be sure to stick around for when they are ready.
Seems like there will be Sir Uptown and Zeb joining.
Oh,
Hello, Zeb. Hello, Sir Uptown.
sorry, I was waiting in the.
How's it going?
I didn't realize I had to move myself.
Yeah, we don't have the power to move you.
Okay.
Yeah, so GG on the qualifier PB and the restream victory. Zeb, how you feeling after that run?
That felt pretty good. That's only my 6th hundo run that I've done so far. I kind of joined this tournament last minute because they said in the Randall League Discord that it's probably not going to start until after hundo is done. So I decided to give this a shot, and yeah, it was pretty fun.
Well, that's great. And the same question to you, Hoptat. I believe you also got a new qualifier time. So how are you feeling about how that went?
Pretty good actually. When I last checked before the run started today, I was at like 45th place. So I was like, you know what? I'm either gonna do it tomorrow morning or tomorrow morning. But I posted a tweet and seeing how Zenny responded, I might as well just do it tonight. Just get it out of the way just to make sure, you know. And got a 127, so that's a whole minute better than what my previous time was. So I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, that 127 should put you pretty safely in now.
Oh yeah.
Whereas before it was kind of on the edge, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like the spreadsheet has been updated. So the cutoff was at a 130.17. It's now at a 128.56. So
That's
you
pretty
are
significantly lower.
Yeah, and lowered by a minute and a half. What's funny is there's only 2 runs in between the new and the old cutoff run.
Mhm.
So kind of crazy. A lot of runners at that barely under sub 130 mark are grinding to improve their times and make sure they're able to qualify for the tournament. And so yeah, I can't say I have too much to say about y'all's runs in particular. So anything you guys want to point out? Anything you want to brag on yourselves for that you did that we might not have noticed?
I've learned the wraparound shot for the Gauntlet Spark for the first time right before this run, so getting that first try was nice. Yeah, I don't think there was anything too spectacular in my run. Nothing too bad either, I don't think, so.
Yeah, same here. There's pretty good spots where I save time on my actual PB and just like, okay, I got that. That's not bad. And then there are a lot of spots like Fantoon where I didn't shoot the super quick enough, so he just went away and it went into a 4 round. So it's like, well, there goes some time. And then probably Metroid 3. The stupid Metroid would just not get off. I could just not time the bomb well for it to pop off.
Oh yeah, that reminds me, my baby skip was super sketchy. I couldn't believe I
Oh
got
yeah,
it.
we saw that. That was rough.
Oh
I
yeah.
will I will say this, Hoptat. We did see you do the Mission Impossible, I believe. So congrats on that.
Yeah.
That's a tough strat to get.
Yeah, a lot of practice comes in real handy.
Yeah, so either of y'all have any closing remarks?
Not really. I'm looking forward to the tournament. Looks like I'm going to be seated around somewhere in the top 20-ish. So, looking
Yeah,
forward to it.
forward. Yeah, same here. Just looking forward. It's been really awesome doing this. Beginning and not thinking I'd be, where I am right here. It's pretty awesome.
All right. I think in that case, that's going to do it for us. Do you have anything else you want to say, John?
All I have to say is congratulations to both of you, Sarah Platy and Seb, to make it. Congratulations to Toasty and Kenzie Al to have finished inside the times limit needed to be in the qualifier. And I think that's all, and I will say to everybody else, we'll see you for the next race tomorrow at 9 a.m. I hope I will see you all there.
Yep, we will see you bright and early, 9 a.m. Be there, or else you'll be really sad, and I don't want that to happen. I think we all deserve to be happy in these trying times. So I hope that we can all be there. Thanks for watching. And as always, thanks for watching.